Hello, I'm Shoestring Jane. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things thrifty, frugal and money saving. And if you like that sort of content, then go ahead and subscribe. Hit that subscription button and then you'll know each time that I publish a video. Today I am going to look at a slow cooker recipe. If some of you may know that I am looking at doing a low carb diet. So I started doing it for a couple of weeks, was feeling a bit better, then I got COVID, then it all went to pot, and now I'm kind of coming out the other side of COVID. I thought I would have another go because I did notice, even just in those few weeks of doing it, that I felt a lot less achy. I can't say I had a lot more energy, which was what I was hoping for, but I think perhaps that's a longer term proposition. So I did feel a lot less achy, my joints were less painful, and I think it's worth really giving it a good try to see if it helps with my fibromyalgia symptoms. It's worth a go, isn't it? But I am trying to do it on a budget. So I'm using a lot of things like chicken and just kind of plain fish. I have bought salmon. I buy salmon when it's on offer. There's no doubt really to me that it's easier to eat high carb foods when you're on a budget because they're cheaper. Things like bread and potatoes and pasta, they're cheap fillers, aren't they? I'm going to avoid those things. So it's just trying to be a bit organised and find things that I can eat and have sometimes that are easy and quick. Or things like today, going back to using my slow cooker because I know that if I'm working, if I've got a lot of work on, I can stick something on in the morning, finish work later and it's done. So that's really, really good. I used to love that when I went out to the office. There's no reason why it can't work the same way. And I have actually been gifted a beautiful new slow cooker by Salter. I'm not being sponsored in any way. I'm not being paid to promote it, but they have gifted it me to try. So I'm going to have a go, give it a go, and then I'll let you know honestly what I think of it. So I'm going to make a keto crack chicken recipe, which is, well, usually it's made with chicken breast, but I'm going to go for thighs because they're a little bit cheaper. So I'll show you how I got on with that, and then I'll show you how I did it, how I made it first, and then I'll let you know how it tasted at the end. Here we go. So here is the Salter slow cooker. It's rose gold, very fancy, 3.5 litre capacity, control with three heat settings, low, high and warm. And let's get it out of the box and have a proper look at it then. So here is the slow cooker ready to go. And what I quite like about it is that it's tall and thin. So it's 3.5 litre, which I think my old one is. But it takes up less space. So you can keep it on the counter or the worktop or in your cupboard. It takes up less space. So I quite like that. It's very pretty too, isn't it, with the rose gold? So anyway, I'm going to give it a go now. See if it works nicely. So I thought I would try a Diet Doctor keto crack chicken recipe that I've found. I'm not doing keto completely, but I am generally trying to eat low carb. So I'm enjoying experimenting with different recipes at the moment. So I'm making a slightly cheaper version than the recipe. It requires chicken breasts. I'm using thigh fillets because they're a bit cheaper. Cream cheese, I've just got the Aldi soft cheese. Ranch seasoning, I don't have any of that. I haven't got all the ingredients to make my own. So I'm just going to use this chicken seasoning and hope for the best. You need salt, bacon. I've just got standard back bacon I'm going to chop up. Cheddar cheese. So I've got cheap old cheddar, same as everything else from Lidl and Aldi. You're supposed to have fresh chives. I'm going to see if we've got any outside. If we haven't, I'll just use something else, something dried. Black pepper and spinach. So baby spinach, I've got young spinach, I suppose it's the same. So I'm going to use the new gifted Salter slow cooker to try this and see how we go. You start off by doing just the cheese and the chicken for a few hours. So I've got to mix the cream cheese in a little bowl with the ranch dressing, which obviously I don't have, the ranch seasoning rather. I don't think it's the end of the world. It's basically a mix of herbs and spices and things, so this will be slightly different. So let's just get all of that out. I'll go back to that in a minute. So instead of the ranch style seasoning, I'm going to add a teaspoon of mixed herbs and some of this chicken seasoning, which this spoon is too big for. my herb cupboard is clearly not as dry as I thought it was because it's got a bit hard. If it was ranch dressing, I'd be adding 2 tablespoons. I'm not going to add 2 tablespoons. I think that'll be too much. 2 teaspoons is adequate. Let's use this just to get that last bit out. If this works and it's nice, this recipe, I've got friends coming in a few weeks. I was supposed to have them on Good Friday, but I had to cancel it because I tested positive for COVID. So I had to cancel that. So I'm going to have another go at getting them round. And I thought I could do this. And I might also try another slow cook recipe, but a dessert for change, a kind of chocolate brownie recipe that I came across when I was looking for good recipes to do in the slow cooker. So it looks delicious. It's got a kind of pink. I think that will do. I'm hoping, because this is quite deep, as I said, it was quite handy being deep from the point of view of space, but I hope it doesn't mean things take longer to cook. I've set it to high. It's got 3 settings, this one actually. It's got high, low and warm, and the warm is not to cook things, it's purely to keep things warm. So if something is cooked and you want to keep it warm until you're ready to eat it, then you would use that setting. It's not for warming things up either, they've said. I've just been reading the instructions, so I've not had one before with warm. Mine had 3 settings before, but it was just high, medium and low. So there isn't a medium setting on this, it's just high and low. So that just literally goes on top. Look, I'm getting it everywhere. Just put it on top, and that cooks by itself for a while before you add anything else. So I'm going to leave that and come back to it in a bit later. God, I've made so much mess with this cream cheese. So let's put the lid on and leave it for a while. The chicken has to go on for 3 hours on high. So whilst it's cooking, I'll do the rest, which is just frying the bacon bits. I'm keeping the fat because I'm not worrying about low fat because I am doing low carb. If you're making this, you might want to get rid of this. I'm going to fry this until crispy. I'm going to grate the cheese. I didn't realise the spinach doesn't actually go in it. It goes by the side of it. So that could have been any vegetable really, couldn't it? I might put it in. I'll see what it looks like at the end. Otherwise, I'll just cook a load of spinach with it, which will be fine. I love spinach anyway. Nice buttery spinach. I always cut bacon like this. I find it so much easier to cut it with kitchen scissors than a knife. I find it so much easier. So, and then once the chicken is cooked, you kind of pull it like pulled pork and mix all the ingredients together. I'll show you that a bit later. So I'm going to fry these off, grate my cheese, and then just wait for the chicken to be cooked. So the timer's gone off and this has been on for 3 hours, and now I need to pull it out and see if I can kind of pull the thighs apart. Let's hope I can, because obviously they're not quite as kind of flaky as breasts. So we'll see. Let's see how it goes. It's cooked, so it's cooked quite quickly. I mean, it's probably slightly undercooked, just slightly, but it's going to go back in and get warmed through, so it's not pulling in the same way that pork pulls. Oops, making a big mess everywhere. But it's kind of flaking, which is all you need really, isn't it? So I'm going to do the rest of that and then mix it all up in the slow cooker. So there's all the chicken going in. It did pull apart quite easily. And then the bacon goes in. It's gone quite cold and fatty now, so I need to run through again. And finally, the cheddar cheese. So it's got cream cheese and cheddar cheese in it, so it's quite high fat, but that's all right if you're on a high fat, low carb type of thing. And then I'm going to just add a little bit of pepper. And then leave that to kind of melt through. So that's all melted in. I've just added a little bit more salt and pepper to taste, and I didn't have any chives in the end. The chives looked really sad in the garden, so I've just used some spring onion tops to add that little chivey flavour and a little bit of green. And it looks very rich, it smells nice, and it tastes really nice. So let's have a little taste, see what it tastes like. It's really nice actually. It's very, very rich. I think it will fill you up. That's really nice. So I think we will need a green vegetable with that. So I'll have the spinach. I might do some carrots as well with that. I think that might go quite nicely. And perhaps a little bit of mashed potato for Justin because he's not doing low carb. And we're not going to eat it yet. So I just realised I dropped a bit there. Give that to the dog. I'm going to leave this on warm because I just want it to stay warm. I don't want it to actually keep cooking now. So I'll keep it warm until Justin arrives back and we'll have our dinner. So thank you very much to Salter for gifting me the slow cooker. I did think it was a really nice model and it's an interesting shape as well. I do wonder though, because another thing I wanted to make was brownies in a slow cooker, and I'm not sure it would work on a slow cooker that's kind of tall and thin. I think you're going to need a flat base. I think it would work better in my old one. But having that, if you've got shorter space, and you want a slow cooker, then having that kind of upright model I think would be better. Plus it's really pretty and very trendy with the rose gold colours, isn't it? At the moment, using slow cooker is a great idea. I mean, energy prices are going through the roof wherever you live, I'm sure. And it's much, much cheaper to cook in your slow cooker than it is in the oven. And the other thing I like about the slow cooker rather than the oven is that you can just lift out the pan, give it a wash, and that's that. With the oven, it's such a job to clean the oven, isn't it? So the less I use the oven, the better. That is my worst housework job, is cleaning the oven. I absolutely detest it, so I do it as little as possible. With your slow cooker, it's none of that. So it's really worth experimenting if you don't have a slow cooker already. I will leave a link if you want to have a look at the model that Salter sent me. I'll leave a link below, but you're under no obligation, obviously. You don't need a slow cooker, but it's very useful to have one. If you enjoyed this video, do give me the thumbs up. And as I said at the beginning, don't forget to subscribe so you know next time I am publishing something new. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.